Sometimes you hope for a little too much from a competitor, when you should have just gone with your gut and got the better smoke detector. Hello, I'm Wanderer001, and this is my review of the Google Nest Protect. As you saw originally, I actually had done a review several years ago, over in the corner there, of the OneLink smoke detector. That was supposed to pretty much be the direct competitor for something like the Nest Protect here. My primary reason for not wanting to go with the Nest Protect originally is, well, as you can see there, big old G, it is currently owned by Google. And I was trying to get away from the Google ecosystem and thought that perhaps the OneLink smoke detector would be what I was looking for. And in fact, it was not. There were several things that it did similarly to the Google Nest Protect, but not a single one of them was better. In fact, I started getting false notifications at 3 a.m. that there was a fire, and this happened to me 3 times. The OneLink also never pushed notifications to my smartphone and would not notify me on each level that there was a problem when I tested. Will that be an issue with the Google Nest Protect? Well, that's what you're here to find out. As you can see, we're going to start things off with the box, and you have 2 separate ways of powering your Google Nest Protect, and that is long life batteries or wired. As you can see, I got the battery powered version because I don't have actual wiring in my house for smoke detectors. This is also a smoke and carbon monoxide alarm, which is very important, and also has a voice feature. So not only does it give you the sound of a smoke detector, you also have an alert being vocalized, which is supposed to be better for helping you wake up and get out of the house. Now, Google, with their packaging, well, they keep it really simple. There's not a lot to look at. Detects fire and CO, speaks human voice, silence false alarms. I will tell you that works and is great, and then tests its battery, which we'll talk about a little later. On the back, there's really not a lot to look at, and on the side, it just shows you the application. So what we're going to do now is kind of walk through what you get in the box, only because, well, it's a smoke detector, there's not a lot of things to look at normally, and as you can see from the picture there, it's just fairly plain. So let's actually take a look at how things are packaged and what you get with the Nest Protect. Battery version, but the wired version will be very similar. For starters, we'll open it up. You have this Google packet up top because, well, Nest is now owned by Google, if you did not know that already. Flip it over, we'll see what we got in here. So it looks like some basic welcome information. So quickie information about the light ring, as well as what you can expect. All right, that's basic. Here we have user guide, information, warning, warning. Both of them are stickers. Interesting. Then we actually have the Nest Protect, which is making a little bit of noise, but we have this plastic cover over it. So, oh, it's not actually a cover. It is a cover, but it actually grips onto the Nest Protect rather well. All right, so we pop that out. That's the Nest. There's the pull tab for the battery. And what it looks like is the sound I was hearing is actually for the plate. And there's little nubs in here that are supposed to hold the plate in place. And they kind of look like they broke. But there's your mounting plate, and at the bottom there you have 4 mounting screws, which we'll just leave in there for now. And that's really everything you get. You get the mounting plate, you get the Nest Protect, and the mounting screws. It's a nice little form factor. Now that you saw what you get with your Nest Protect in the box, and ooh, you can see the fancy styling on the front there, really, this is just a big button to test your Nest Protect, and then a LED light ring around the center where you can have red, yellow, green, and then white lights. Red, obviously there's a problem. Yellow indicates that there could be a problem. Green is the nightly promise where it lets you know, hey, everything's all right. And then there's a white, which will allow you to have a nightlight mode. I'll talk about that a little more when I get into the application area, but just know that's what you can do with that LED. Right here, it has a fancy front so that you can hear the speakers. Along the sides, you're really not gonna get anything. Everything kind of looks the same. You do get a little indication right in there as to where your batteries are. And on the back here, you have your Google branding and a mini USB plug, as well as what you would normally get with a smoke detector. Here, this is the important part. This is actually your door panel for your batteries. The actual lifespan of your smoke and CO2 detector is 10 years. As you can see, you actually have replaceable AA batteries with this. Now, it does specify that you need to use this specific style and brand. You can always replace them if needed within the still usable lifespan of your smoke detector. And that's going to be one of the things that I talk about in the applications, which is my concerns of the night light and how it burns through the batteries. Well, you can replace them, you don't have to worry. Now, you did hear me say that this has an application. Well, that's because not only does it tell you in your home if there's a problem, it pushes that notification to the application. It pushes those notifications to a smartphone app. Now, again, one of the reasons I said I was hesitant to get the Nest Protect was it is a product owned by Google. However, Nest still operates their application separately. So you will need to have a Nest account for the setup process. But let's take a look at what the setup process is like. For this, I actually got 3 of these to have one on each of my floors. So it's a lengthy process. This will be the setup process for the Google Nest Protect. First things first, you will have to download the Nest app. Even though this is a Google product now, you still have to use the Nest app, after which you do need to create an account. After you create your account, you will be greeted with this page. So you simply select add a product, and then it's going to ask you to use your camera because there's a QR code on the back of this. So what we're going to do now is we're going to flip over and scan the QR code on the back, and I still need to set up my location, so we're going to say continue. All right, so if you have multiple Nests, it wants you to have them all within range, and off camera I have 2 other ones right over there, and it wants us to know our Wi-Fi password, have a ladder and a screwdriver, because as part of the installation you will have to actually put them up. So hopefully that doesn't make us do that for setting these up. Some of the other smart smoke detectors require you to actually put the back on in order for the connection to work. So we'll see. Next. All right, so our first one here, we are going to select upstairs because that's where it's going to go. Now it wants us to pull out the battery tab on this, so we're going to do that right now. And try and do that around the camera, not easy. There we go. Battery tab has been removed.
Hi, hola. Press the button now for English. Ready. Press to test. This is only a test. The alarm will sound. It's going to be loud.
Yep.
The test starts in 5 seconds. Press to cancel. Testing smoke. Testing carbon monoxide.
That should have been loud enough, even with the lapel mic, to hear. So
the test is finished. Everything looks good.
So we're going to select next now, and it should be looking for this. Supposedly it might take a few minutes to actually do. If I was reading that previous page correct, I might have to tap on the button, but it is glowing blue, so that should mean that we're connected. Good. Now it wants to know what Wi-Fi to use. I'm going to tell it to use my IoT, and we're just going to quickly put in the password off camera so that this can connect to our Wi-Fi. And then for this particular setup, because I have multiples, I also have sticky notes over here to slap on the front of it when I set up the other 2, because that's probably going to happen while we're sitting here, and there's no way to know the difference between them on face value unless you write something around on the back of them. All right, so it's finishing up, adding this to my account. All right, so in this case, we're going to add another. So we're gonna slap a label on that one, say add one more. We're gonna scan a QR code. So what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna push this one up here, bring in our third one, scan our QR code quickly. Might be hard to see, but I still have the light on that one, but not on this one. So we're going to select next. This one is going to be in our basement. All right, so I'm supposed to press 1. That's that one, it's glowing blue. Then we're gonna select next. This time I'm not going to remove the battery tab until prompted, and we'll see what that does. My thoughts were, here we go. Wake up Nest Protect, take out the tab. All right, so it's pretty much follow the directions you did normally, but it's going to use one of the active ones to network.
Hi, hola. Press the button now for English. Ready. Press to test. This is only a test.
Here we go.
The alarm will sound. It's going to be loud. The test starts in 5 seconds. Press to cancel. Testing smoke. Testing carbon monoxide.
And that should be set up. So we can select next. And now the two should be talking to each other.
The test is finished. Everything looks good.
So hopefully now it's pulling the information from our first one to make this one easier to set up. It also looks like if you follow the directions a little better, it should just grab all the information from here and not have to put in the Wi-Fi password again. So that was my bad with this one. Hopefully it will take all the information it needs from our original and we'll be good to go. Adding it to my account. Now I'll notice that only these two are active, not the one that I set up for my living room. So now we're done with all three. We're going to select next because we're done. And we have the option of setting up some things. So we have path light for the individuals. So realistically, I don't need one for the basement. So it does take a little time for the actions to change. Okay. I might not need one for the family room, but I'm going to leave it on so I can test my pets. Upstairs, it would be nice, so we're going to keep that. So we've got a sound check. You can select or you can specify a different time. What we're going to do is say midday. So while I'm not around, it can perform its sound check. Select next. After which we're going to install the Nest Protect, meaning mounting it to the ceiling. Once we do that, we're supposed to push the button twice to perform a test, which makes sure that they're connected to Nest as well as each other. We're going to select next, setup complete, so we can either add another product or select done. So I have Protect, and then I have my 3, which look good, and then I can do a checkup from here. But that is the setup process. Next is the installation process, which isn't terrible. You take your 4 screws, you take your mounting plate, and you do just like you would for a regular smoke detector. So there you go. It was a little long, but in comparison to the other smoke detector, which is how we'll refer to that paperweight now, it was reasonably easy to do. I like the fact that they interconnected with each other and they signaled each other perfectly fine. The Nest Protect also has a function that prevents steam from setting it off prematurely or accidentally, which is great. But hearing me tell you that this works, I figured it out. People who like smoke detectors, they like to see. So don't tell, show me. So here we go. This is a test that I did to test how quickly it would take the Nest Protect to activate itself after detecting smoke, as well as to see if the interconnectivity between the smoke detectors worked. Here's a hint, it did.
Emergency. There's smoke. Emergency. Upstairs. There's smoke. Press to silence. In 1 room. Emergency.
So I can press the silence.
There's smoke. Emergency. Smoke alarm silenced. Upstairs.
Just after I silenced, I got a notification on my phone. And that's still blinking red. Let's see if I can bring my phone into focus here. Letting me know.
The smoke alarm is over.
And it was letting me know that there was smoke up here and I could silence it from the phone if I wanted to. But it's letting me know that everything is over.
Emergency. There's smoke. In 1 room. Press to silence.
So there you saw. Worked just like it states out of the box. You did see me turn it off by pressing the button here. You can also turn it off using the application. That silence mode using the application is one of the more useful features for something like this. but that also means that there's other things that you can do in the application itself. So why don't we use this as a segue point to check out the application for the Nest Protect. This is the Nest app for the Nest Protect. As I stated before, keep in mind that even though Google owns Nest now, it still has and maintains its own application. So you will have to download something else. This is what we're looking at. Right here on the home screen, you have a home indicating your home or away. These come in with some of the other Nest products, but for the Protect, we don't have to worry about that too much. Here we can see our Protect icon right there. Green means good. Up there in the left-hand corner, there is a little drop-down arrow if you want to integrate some of the functionality into Google Home. Over here we have settings for the Nest app itself. We'll talk about that a little bit later after we discuss the Nest Protect. You can see it is cycling the temperature for my home address right there, but we're going to click our Protect so that it gives us access to those options. Right here in the middle you have a Nest with green, kind of looks like the Nest Protect. Everything is okay, it's stating. Here you can see I have 3 Nest Protects. I have basement, family room, and upstairs. Each of these, if I select them, will show me status for that particular smoke detector. Here the sensor was last checked 6 hours ago. Alarm, voice, those were both 33 days ago. Battery was checked 6 hours ago, and Wi-Fi was checked 6 hours ago. We can also sort for each of them just by swiping left and right, which is very helpful. I can select See History, which will actually bring me into more of a calendar view. Up here at the top it does say basement. I can switch that to family room, and on Sunday the 30th, if I do this, it will show me the point at which it made a check. If anything were to be wrong with any of these, it would let me know, either in the app or on the smoke detector itself. This is one of the things that I really like about the Nest Protect over my other smart smoke detector. This one helps diagnose itself much more regularly and much more visibly to you. If I wanted to, I could select Checkup, and what this will do is safety check last performed 33 days ago. I can hit continue, and what this will do, it will connect to a Nest Protect. And this might be a little difficult to hear off camera, but what will happen is it will ring. So alarms will sound. This is only a test. In 5 seconds, this will ring right outside my filming door, so maybe you'll hear it, but it's going to test to make sure that everything works. And I just scared my cats horribly. But what it's doing now is it's going to run through and test each of these. So it is currently testing the one right in front of my door, which is upstairs, and then it will cycle to family room and then basement. And what this will do is this will update the history of when things were checked. A little louder this time, probably heard that. Here we can see basement is done, upstairs is done. Now it's just waiting for the family room. And family room's all green. So now we know we've run a test as of today, so our history will update itself next time we check. If we come up to the upper right hand corner, there is a sprocket icon. Selecting this will bring us into the information or settings for our Nest Protect. Keep in mind, I do have 3 individual ones, so you will have to click on one of them in order to access particular settings for that Nest Protect. Right here we have our sound check. I have it set for midday, meaning that it will kind of chirp in the middle of the day to make sure that everything is okay. And then here, if you wanted to, you could listen to the check and kind of have it go right now. You can allow monthly sound check, turn that on or off. You can get notification, meaning do you want to be notified before it does a sound check? This way, in case you're home, you don't get spooked. And then preferred time for me, I have midday, which is 11 to 4 p.m. You can change that just by clicking on that. We're going to select back. We have silence alarm. Well, do you want to be able to silence your alarm from your Nest app? Well, you're getting this because you want to be able to use your smartphone in order to interact with the Nest Protect. So you're going to want to have that on. And then we have a section about what to do. So selecting that, do you smell, what to do if you have smoke and fire or carbon monoxide. Clicking on either one of these will help you kind of run through what you should be doing. It's nice, it's got visualization. Ideally, you would want to go through that before you actually encountered a fire or carbon monoxide. We're going to select my upstairs smoke detector right now because, well, that just makes things easier. Right here we have our path light. We can select this on or off. The path light will allow you to have a glow at night, allowing it to act as almost like a night light. My one problem with this was because I have these mounted on the ceiling and aiming down, even my small black cat was still setting these off. So had to turn that off. Nightly promise, well, this will glow the same light ring green when you're going to bed at night. And how does it determine at night? Well, when it senses there's a lot of light around and then you turn off the lights, it figures that's nighttime and then gives you a green kind of fade in, fade out. I turn that off as well because, well, my smoke detector upstairs kind of gets a lot of lights on, lights off, lights on, lights off. And I didn't want this killing the battery in it. Even though it has a 10-year battery lifespan, I don't want to make that any less, so I turned that one off too. Steam check. Well, this one, because it's upstairs, so is my shower, I have this on. This will allow to lessen any possible false positives that you get because of steam instead of smoke. So if you have this anywhere near somewhere where you'd expect steam, such as a bathroom where there's a shower, turn that on. You'll save yourself some headaches. Heads up on, what this will do is let you know in advance if it detects increased levels of carbon monoxide or smoke. This is a good idea of, rather than, hey, there's something here, get out. This will let you know, I've sensed increased levels, you might want to look into this. Brightness, well, that light ring that can go green, red, or white to either light your path, give you a good night promise, or let you know everything's okay. You can set the intensity of that light. Even on medium, I was a little concerned with how often it was going off. So like I said, I turned it off. On medium, I will say the night light was rather good. I could see in front of me and a good distance around without having to strain just at medium brightness. Here we've got our language spoken, our Wi-Fi connection, which if you need to reset it, that's where you can do it. You have where, this is location. You can change this, we're not going to. Technical information, that's gonna be technical information about your Nest Protect, and then your data, which brings you into the privacy policies of Google Nest. And then all the way at the bottom, you have remove Nest Protect, so you could remove that if you wanted to. We're gonna select back. Those are all our settings under our sprocket icon for one of our smoke detectors. So here we can see everything was tested 5 minutes ago, as we showed before. Selecting back one more time brings us back to the home page of the Nest Protect. So that's the end of the Nest Protect portion of the application. So it's not a terribly clunky application, all things considered, for the Nest Protect. Obviously that was just the portion for the Nest Protect. There's a lot more you can do if you're in the Nest ecosystem. So some things that you need to consider when picking up the Nest Protect. On the back, there is a manufacturing date. You want to make sure that you get a Nest Protect that is reasonably within its operating life of 10 years. If you get them directly from Google, your chances of getting a newer one are better. If you get this from like Amazon or Home Depot, you might be a few months into its usable life, but only you know for sure if you're willing to deal with a slightly shortened lifespan. Another thing that I saw when I was originally looking into the Nest Protect, again, this is the Gen 2 at the moment, was that, yeah, it has a microphone in it. Well, part of the reason it has a microphone in it is because it does a test to make sure that it is still functioning correctly. You as a person are supposed to check your smoke detectors at least once a month to make sure that everything is operational. I don't know about you, but even with the paperweight, I didn't really test it. Nest Protect does that for you, which is what the microphone is for, to get that audible cue to make sure that it's functioning correctly. It's not actually listening in on you, so don't worry about that. It's just to make sure that it's functioning correctly, which is great. As I stated before, the batteries, you can replace them, so if you actually like to have the nightlight, there's no harm in actually having it. The one thing that I forgot to mention in the application portion is when I made changes to turn off the good night signal, the green light, and the night light, it did take over a day for that to be processed from the application to the Nest Protect itself, and I did that to each of them on each of my floors. I wish that went a little quicker, but it's not terrible. The 10-year usable lifespan of this is because of the electrochemical carbon monoxide detector. 10 years is about standard for what you're going to get in something like this. The big thing that you're going to have with this over a standard one that you might pick up in your store is actually the price, and the price is a little steep. The Nest Protect for a single unit is $120 rounding up, so if you get 3 of these like I did, you're looking at an initial investment of $360. And that is really hard to swallow, especially since each of these is about $10 more than that paperweight that I told you about. But that's the thing, the paperweight doesn't work. The Nest Protect has worked day one out of the box. I've had 0 complaints about this. And one of the cooler features that's kind of overlooked is actually the mounting here. When you mount this to the mounting plate, the Nest Protect has thought well enough that you might not be able to get this perfectly situated the way you want it. So they actually give you enough leeway in the mounting plate that you can continue to turn this until you get to a appropriate aesthetic look for its positioning. And it's little touches like that that I think probably were the reason Google bought Nest in the first place. One of the reasons why, even though I didn't want to get this originally and tried to find an alternative, I hate to say it, I have been extraordinarily happy thus far with the Nest Protect. If you are considering the Nest Protect, I would highly recommend it. If you are not yet ready to buy something like the Nest Protect, I have another alternative review in the corner there of something called the Roost Smart Battery, which you can insert into your standard 9-volt smoke detector to make it smart, as opposed to putting down the money for something like this. Although I still highly recommend the Nest Protect, but if you're not ready for that kind of financial commitment, I'd recommend checking out that Roost Smart Battery over in the corner there. With that being said, I have been Wanderer001. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them in the area below. And as always, thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, consider giving it a like, as that will help other people find the video as well. If you like what I'm doing here, you can always help fuel the next review by buying me a coffee, link in the description below. Last but not least, if you want to be notified when I upload a new video, you know what to do.